call the Board of Public Works meeting of Monday, February 1st to order. Number 2, approval of minutes of January 18. Motion by Mr. Fire, second, Mr. Fisher. Comments, corrections? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. I see no citizens, so we'll move on to number 4. Approval of state municipal agreement with Wisconsin Department of Transportation for the Adler Road Trail Extension, Weber Park to Sycamore Avenue, presented by Dan Connect, Director of Public Works. Dan.
Thank you. You might recall that last October, we were notified by the DOT that we were successful with our grant application for this trail project on Adler Road. As part of the Transportation Alternatives Program, or the TAP program. First step in that process is to approve a state municipal agreement between the DOT and the city. We've done these before on other projects, most recently the Lincoln Avenue project between 5th Street and Adler Road. I did include a copy of the agreement in the agenda packet. It details the cost share on the project as well as other conditions. The important factor is that it's 80% federally funded and 20% city. The city would also pay 100% of any local utility costs with sewer or water modifications. Being that this is a trail behind the curb, we don't think there'll be much of that kind of cost involved in the project. We would also be responsible for 100% of any real estate costs. We suspect there'll be a need for some easements along that corridor, maybe some strip acquisition of properties. We did include a conservative estimate in our application package of about $75,000 for those real estate costs. Once we get into the design process, we would further define that and try to minimize those costs, of course. So with that, the estimated cost to the city is about $91,000 for the design and construction, and then up to the $75,000 for real estate costs, for a grand total to the city of in the range of $166,000. The DOT's share is about $365,000, and that is capped at that amount. So in the end, even if we have some real estate costs, it's still a great deal for us to get a project this funded with that help. The agreement does have a requirement that it starts construction, the trail project starts construction by August of 2024. I see a typo in my memo there. 2024 is the start date and has to be completed by June of 2026. We do have it in our CIP for a 2024 construction start and likely getting started with that design in 2022. So with that, I take any questions, but the recommended action is to approve the state municipal agreement with the DOT, the Adler Road Trail project from Weber Park to Sycamore Avenue, and authorize.
Could I get a motion and a second first, and then we'll, Mr. Rosendich, second by Mr. Bargander. Comments or questions? Mr. Bargander.
I'm just happy that this project is moving ahead. I live right next door to that proposed trail, and I see a lot of people this winter with the mild weather still using that highway, and it is still marked at 45 out there, so it's still, people are still driving at highway speeds, and it is somewhat dangerous for individuals to walk, especially during towards the evening. But this is a very worthwhile project, and I'm happy to see it moving forward. Thank you.
Anybody else? Dan, could you, we see this where we get money from the state through a grant. Who is responsible for working on that grant? You know? I imagine you were and Justin maybe, or?
Well, it was Tom and Tim and myself primarily. Okay. Justin helps us out. We do get other grants. We work with the planning department staff, so it kind of depends on the nature of the grant, but most of our engineering staff gets involved in those.
We get this every once in a while, and I just want to bring that out because staff doing that, getting grants for us, it is saving the city quite a bit of money. So people that were responsible for it should be, the public should know that you worked hard at getting that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Number 5, approval of final assessments for 2020 asphalt paving projects presented by Tom Turchi, city engineer. Tom.
I was hoping you were going to read those for me, but I'll go through that.
Well, I could.
All right. We are finished with our mill in place program for 2020 and some projects that were carried over from 2019. The asphalt paving and pulverizing frontage was all the estimated or final prices were 10% less than estimated because we actually base our initial estimate based upon the open bids and then add 10%. So therefore, everything came in less than estimated. So the sidage on pulverizing and paving was $670 per linear foot. Driveway aprons were $27.96 per linear square yard. Asphalt paving of alleys was frontage was $11.21. Asphalt paving sidage for alleys residential was $5.61, and asphalt paving for sidage for businesses were $8.41. Enclosed with this memo is a table of the final assessments. The majority of the final assessments were less than estimated. Those that did exceed the estimate were typically due to increases due to the quantity of driveways or culverts. And therefore, I'd recommend approval of the final assessments for the following project. 13th Street, Adams Avenue to Locust Avenue. Locust Avenue, 13th Street to 14th Street. 25th Street, Felker Avenue to Butternut Parkway. 4th Street, Larch Avenue to Mulberry Avenue. Mulberry Avenue from 4th Street to the cul-de-sac north. Alley bounded by Central, Maple, Cleveland, and Blodgett. And the second alley was Central, Maple, Daggy to Edison. Apple Avenue from Daggy Street to Cleveland Street. Cleveland Street from Apple Avenue to Palmetto Avenue. Ash Avenue from Becker Road to Franklin Street. Downwind Drive, Air Park Road to the cul-de-sac north. Fairview Drive, Schmidt Avenue to the cul-de-sac west. Hume Avenue, Blodgett Street to Fillmore Street. Schmidt Avenue, 14th Street to 17th Street. Butternut Parkway, Trammell Court, 17th Street. North Hills Avenue, Chapel to Wood, and North Hills Avenue, Upham to Chapel. Wood Avenue from Upham to McMillan Street. 26th Street, Felker Avenue to Washington Avenue. Chapel Court, and then Chapel Street, North Hills to Chapel Court. Therefore, recommend approval.
Did you have a comment, Dan? Go ahead.
All right, 2 things I was going to mention. I think the Ash Avenue project got delayed from.
It did, and I just, that's why I paused when I was reading
Right,
it.
that'll be a 2021 project, but I wanted to just mention, in case you're wondering, because a few projects got delayed from 2019 to 2020, did that increase special assessment for some folks because of a year later and prices going up? But we actually had better prices in 2020 than we did in 2019. So those folks were not harmed by that delay from a special assessment.
Okay, could I have a motion and a second, please? Motion by Mr. Bargander, second by Mr. Fire. Comments or questions? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed, motion carries. Number 6, approval of preliminary resolutions for 2021 special assessment project presented by Tom Turchi, city engineer. Tom.
All right, this is for resolution 2021-07. And this is basically the starting in the process for mill in place and special assessments for 2021 projects. So we have 4th Street from Columbus Avenue to the cul-de-sac, 25th Street, Maple Avenue to Vine Avenue. Alley is bounded by Central, Maple, Arnold, and Blodgett. Arlington Street, Cypress Avenue to Lincoln Avenue. Ash Avenue, Becker Road to Franklin Street, which is that project that we had that I just said, which was a mistake because I carried that over for this year. Pine Avenue from 6th Street to 4th Street. Harrison Street from Peach Avenue to the cul-de-sac. Larch Avenue, 5th Street to Adler Road. Adams Avenue from Upham Street to McMillan Street. Blodgett Street, Wood Avenue to St. Joseph's Avenue. Briarwood Street, Lincoln Avenue to Schmidt Avenue. Cedar Avenue from 8th Street to 6th Street. Clark Avenue from Arlington Street to the cul-de-sac. Laurel Court from Laurel Street to the cul-de-sac north. Magnolia Avenue, 3rd Street to Adler Road, Park Street from Adams Avenue to Clark Avenue, 3rd Street from Mulberry Avenue to Magnolia Avenue, and then A Street from Central Avenue to Cedar Avenue. And we sent out approximately 210 invites for a public informational meeting to get the process started for getting these residents information on the projects that are coming up. Those meetings are going to be held Monday and Tuesday here in the council chambers from 4:30 to 5:30. Therefore, I'd recommend approval of resolution 2021-07 for forwarding to the Common Council for consideration.
Motion, Mr. Rosendich, second by Mr. Bargander. Questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, recommended items for future agendas. Okay, motion to adjourn. Mr. Rosendich, second by Mr. Fire. Thank you. We are adjourned.